The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is Universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
All right. Sports concepts and rationalizations. We kick it around. And at the end of the segment, the exciting segment, we hand out a wonderful gift, don't we, Beef?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, the excitement on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures for this 9 o'clock nasty new word you're going to drop on Jeff is you can cut the tension with a knife. But yes, at the end of the 10-minute drill, guys, we're going to hook one lucky Googan up with lunch for two at Sonny's Barbecue. So stay tuned for that.
All right. Some of the effects maybe from this coronavirus deal. California's in a stay-at-home mode right now, right? The governor came out in that state and said, hey, everybody stay at home. That means that, by the way, a football stadium that was supposed to be ready in July and I assume is near completion, construction will halt on that, right? So I wonder if that puts that in jeopardy at all as we move forward. So we shall see. But that's the SoFi Stadium out there in L.A. We'll have to wait and see what happens with those guys because you would think that they would not be able to continue construction on that stadium. If there's hopefully when there's football season this year, we have that big beautiful stadium, and right now there's still some work to do. It's supposed to be done in July, I believe. So,
Hick, if you want to watch some competitive sports, I would send you to Ricky Fowler or Justin Thomas's Instagram.
Left-handed golf.
Yeah, I find it very entertaining. In fact, if they want to play 18 holes and do that for 4 hours, I'll watch every shot. In fact, I find it more interesting to watch them play each other left-handed than I do if they played each other right-handed.
You know, I think about that, and if we weren't dealing with what we were dealing with, I wonder if it would be a topic of conversation in the sports world. And the reason being this. Tiger Woods, I mean, Ricky Fowler has gobs of talent, and he's got 4 or 5 career wins. I guess my question to you is, would those guys be criticized for wasting time playing left-handed golf when they should be out grinding and practicing in a real
I don't
world?
know. You know me. I'll grab onto a good, cynical conspiracy theory, but that never even crossed my mind. This
Really?
looks like two guys.
Yeah.
Are you saying if there was no coronavirus now, would they be?
Yeah.
I don't.
If they were out funning around.
I don't know. Well, they made those runs to the Bahamas. I don't remember them taking too big a beating. We seem to take it in good fun. So
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I will say this: you would think they would hit it better.
Oh, you're watching them? Or you saw some?
Yeah, you would think the left-handed. Let me see. Ricky's left-handed swing wasn't all that impressive. It's fun to watch him, Hick. It looks like he threw his club.
Did they say what they shot?
I don't have the sound up because I'm talking to you, but it's you watch them play and it's like you're playing with your buddies. They hit shots.
Who is it, Ricky and who?
Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
They throwing clubs when they hit a bad one, slamming. They're playing with a frustration level that pros don't play with. It's fun to watch anyway.
Yeah. So that's. I just wonder. What would happen if there were no coronavirus? They were putting this out there. I think people would. You go back to the great golfers of all time. They grind, and Tiger was always out practicing, and he would never waste time playing a round of golf left-handed. It's just a different – and so you would say, okay, it's a different group. Those guys, you're right. They've always been the fun guys. Let's go to the Bahamas. Let's play golf barefoot. Let's those types of things. So anyway, just something to ponder as we –
Yeah, and I think during these times then –
During these times, I could care less. I'd love to watch
I like the idea. Look, I like the idea of quarantining 16 ballers and making it a reality show. And the
I don't know how you're going to pull
is,
that off in L.A. right now. You might have to do that in like Chicago or somewhere else.
Well, Chicago's not good either. Hick.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of a stay-at-home state right now. They don't want anybody going out in California.
Yeah. It's these are different times. I said earlier, Hick. There are moments in people's lives. There's usually only 5 or 6 of them that just stand out because of the bigness of them. I mean, some people in our audience were alive when President Kennedy was assassinated. For some, it's Elvis's death. For others, it's Kobe Bryant. I mean, there are for each. This will be by far, at least at this point, the biggest impact, most memorable in my life. I mean, every day it's just an exponential addition of some sort, whether it's opinion or forecast or actual illness. It's just, and the longer this is around, the more you now personally know people. I've just found out, that I personally know someone now that has been diagnosed. So it's just, that person has just been advised just to rest and try and get healthy. Nothing, no hospitalization, no specific medicines. Just, lay down, try and get your rest and get better.
All right, the LA Rams were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they seem like they're trending the wrong way. They thought coming off the Super Bowl, the one thing people always know about is the Super Bowl hangover. In other words, will the San Francisco 49ers suffer from the Super Bowl hangover this year? That's the first challenge.
It seems like the hangover, by the way, and then you finish. The hangover usually applies to teams that weren't legit, by the way. Like it's easy for the Falcons to have a Super Bowl hangover. They're the Falcons.
Right.
The Rams hadn't been any good in a while, so them having a Super Bowl hangover doesn't surprise me as much. So the point being, I think the Niners fall into that category. If I had to pick one of the teams that wouldn't make the playoffs next year, I'm not sure I wouldn't pick the Niners, and that's even with that good defense they have.
All right, so that's the first thing. But aside from that, the other challenge is to, in this day and age in the NFL, is to position your team properly and know that you're pouring money into the really good players and, follow the formula that allows you to stay competitive year after year. Well, lo and behold, the year after the Super Bowl, part of it was Super Bowl hangover. Part of it has been the demise of Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, who they signed to a big old fat contract, had to be cut yesterday because he was due basically $10 million, and they didn't want to give him $10 million roster bonus and such. So and nobody was going to trade for him because they all knew. So they released Todd Gurley, but it's not just Todd Gurley. If you go back and look, the Rams have been dropping a lot of guys. They lost the linebacker who left, Little John. Is that his name, or is it John Little? I kid because I care. So he left.
I think it's Littleton, isn't it?
Yeah, Littleton. Like I said, I kid because I care. The bottom line is
I can't keep up with us.
The bottom line is the centerpiece of the LA Rams may be the person who shouldn't be the centerpiece, and he may have had a great year because of everybody else around him who was so good, and that would be Jared Goff. Jared Goff's numbers not terrible last year, but not near as good as his Super Bowl year. So they're also going to be saddled with or have a one-year rental here with Jalen Ramsey. I can't imagine that the Rams are going to turn around and sign him, with their situation, but maybe they will. So we shall see. But the Rams, to me, are a team that is definitely trending downward quickly.
100%.
Wasn't Brockers on the Rams as
sure.
well? And
he's with the Ravens now.
He's now with
the
Ravens.
I'll tell you what's just trending. And they released Clay Matthews yesterday, and you say, what? He had 8 sacks last year. He had 8. Dante Fowler had 11 and a half. Mm-hmm. Brockers had 4. Mm-hmm. Go find 22 sacks. I mean, that's like the Jags total, for Pete's sake.
And part of that is because they paid Aaron Donald all that money.
Correct.
They don't have any money to pay the other guys. So when everybody's getting theirs out there, this is what happens. And I don't think the Rams are going to continue to be able to play at this highly competitive level.
My hope is that the Rams somehow learned a lesson, and no matter how much Jalen Ramsey cries, fakes an injury, or does whatever he does, that they don't pay him. That's what I really hope. Like, I enjoyed seeing Darius Slay get paid, and he shoot up the salary scale, and Jalen can keep playing for his $6.8 million. And go ahead now and try and convince the Rams you're worth $17 million. Go ahead. That hasn't worked for him, these last few years. So, we'll see. I tell you what it signals for me, Dan, and I have tried to continue to care. The running back position is dead, dude.
Yeah.
If you pay a running back long term, you're an idiot. Just no other way around it. The last 2 guys to become the highest paid running back in the league were Devontae Freeman and Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Each of whom now is without a team released this offseason. Each of whom got injured the next year and have never been the same. Gurley's big money was worth it for about 13 games.
Yeah.
And then from the end of 2018, he's the reason they lost the Super Bowl. Not because he did anything wrong, but because he couldn't play at the level that he was playing at for those first, 12, 13 weeks. And so this is why, if you're the Jags, if you pick up Leonard Fournette's option, you really should just be kicked out of the league. I mean, you really should. Now, if Leonard has a great year and you can convince him to stay and sign him and get him for X amount a year, but the days of just, ponying up these $10 million a year deals for running backs are the days that involve losing teams. You just can't do it. They're too unreliable physically. You know what I mean?
Well, the 2017 draft class delivered one of the most impressive groups of backs, and that includes Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon and Alvin Kamara and James Conner and Marlon Mack and Aaron Jones and Chris Carson. And every one of those guys could tell you, yeah, I deserve a new deal, and they're right. And then the lesson is, why would you pay him anything more than $8 million a year, I guess is kind of what people are saying. So
it's tough. I feel for running backs. It's not fair. It's not fair that other positions that don't have the impact of a running back make more money. It's not fair. But at the end of the day, dude, it's just become painfully obvious. You can count on a running back's future health less than any other position, and it's pretty clear why. Dan, if a quarterback has a pretty bad ankle sprain, he can play the game and often not even suffer in production. If a defensive tackle has a hip flexor, he can grind through and you may not even notice. If a running back has those injuries, he's useless. I mean, we saw that with Gurley. He could still run, but obviously there was something terribly wrong with him at the end of that 2018 season and pretty much all of last year. So it's just too risky a proposition. You really, if you're an NFL team and you're going to base your production and your offense off of running the ball, you better draft one in the top 2 or 3 rounds every 2 years. I mean, you really should. And if I'm the Jags, running back should be a bigger priority than what we've talked about. And these, examples to me of Freeman and Gurley are why. Now, that doesn't mean I'm right, but that's how I would react to this. Running back would be, you better have 2 or 3 if you're going to be a playoff team, because you're going to lose 1 or 2, it seems, every year.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the supply-demand card, I guess, and went ahead and raised ticket prices.
I don't blame them. Why not? Why not? I mean, you are going to – plus, by the way –
yeah.
And I noted that – have you seen their home schedule?
It's terrific, buddy. Have you seen
it's unbelievable.
Have you seen how much tickets cost there versus what they cost here, by the way?
I didn't notice
That's
that.
a fact you should consider.
Yeah. Every time you get mad at this franchise and get angry, and as fans we're allowed to do that, you should always go take a look at ticket prices across the NFL versus ticket prices in Jayville. Because, honest to God, man, I will say this about this Jaguars franchise. They do not overprice their season tickets. When for season tickets right now, the increase ranges from $135 to $255 a piece. Just go look at how much season tickets cost and how much you're paying, and I think you're generally going to be doing better in Jayville than you are anywhere else.
I will say this: if Jacksonville had a top 5 offense, Mike Evans, Tom Brady, and that crew, they might could sell them for that much too. They might could. Yeah.
They might. But anyway, yeah.
The interesting thing for the Bucs is, gee, thanks a lot, you JAs. You've been playing at a pitiful level for 5 years.
We've ponied up since you won your
Although
only
they haven't
Super Bowl.
ponied up, Dan. Tampa looks just like Jacksonville on game
worse.
day, bro.
Yeah, that's true. 50. I think I read yesterday they were 30th in the league, and they averaged 51,000 a game.
Oof.
I mean, whoa.
Is that bad?
And that average, by the way, is not an accurate fannies and seat count. That's just
I suspect a certain
count.
franchise a little bit north of there will have those types of numbers at least to start this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I will say this, back to your poll question.
Uh-huh.
If it weren't the Dave Caldwell that has the resume and the lack of success that he's had here, I'd feel pretty good about what they've done. I mean, all things considered, you've got to kind of reboot here. It didn't work. We could tread water and go 6-10, 7-9. Really, have a great year and go 9-7 if you're paying too large a percentage of your salary just to 3 or 4 or 5 guys. So, clearly you're going to miss the production of guys like A.J. Boye and Calais Campbell and some of the other guys they've let go. But, you piecemealed some replacements on defense with a ton of draft picks to come. And so, I would feel a little more optimistic if there was a better track record, of this crew and how they draft and what they do. So, but where they were, salary and otherwise, you have to make some tough decisions. So to be able to get out from under Nick Foles and open it up for Gardner Minshew, to be able to really, alleviate yourself of the salary of some of those other players, I think if you build right with the rest of your decisions, will end up being good moves. The question is, do we build right with the rest of those decisions?
Yep. All right, let's do this. Let's do caller number 4 right now at 641-1010, and we'll give out a nice prize pack. Beef, remind them what they're getting.
Caller number 4, Dan, at 641-1010. Going to take home lunch for 2 from our friends at Sonny's Barbecue.
All right, and we've told you a couple of things coming up, including Drill at the Movies and also the 9 o'clock Nasty. You're going to want to stay tuned as we get a new word in print that really I'm shocked was in print. That's all still to come.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to admit.